Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us again on a broadcast here from the Republican Party of Texas Convention live right here in Houston. I'm Brandon Waltens, the managing editor of Texas Scorecard, and we've got Terri Hall from Texas Turf and Texans for Toll-Free Highways joining us right now. Terri, thank you so much for stopping by our booth here. First of all, you've been here for a few days now, been going around the convention. What's it been like seeing a lot of these people, especially since we didn't have a convention in person a couple years ago?
Oh my goodness, it's so refreshing to see fellow patriots, especially at a time when our country is really struggling. A lot of people are very down about the prospects of things, and that's why I feel like the convention is where we can get this done. This is where we can do something instead of just sitting in our houses screaming at the TV. This is where it all gets done, especially in the state of Texas, and if we can protect Texas, we protect the nation.
What have been some of the top issues you've been looking at as they've made their way through either the priorities of the party right now or the platform?
Both, actually.
Yeah.
So, and one has to play into the other. You can't really have a legislative priority that's not already in the platform. So we're making sure that the things that are important to us on transportation-related things and freedom to travel, really, that's a big thing that's actually coming on the scene with the left Green Deal and the Biden infrastructure bill is our freedom to travel is under assault. So we made sure we actually added a new plank this time around, which is very important because basically you see it right out here on the streets of Houston and downtown Houston. And they do it in a lot of our downtown areas now because we're run by Democrats in Texas cities now.
Right.
And they want to take your auto lanes and turn them into bus lanes. And they want to turn them into bike lanes. And they want to put in all this fancy curbing so that you can't turn left or turn right. And before long, you literally only have one lane on a 4-lane road that's actually for autos to travel.
Yeah.
And so you're getting stuck. It might take you you can see where you need to go right there, and you can't get to it because of all the interference that the left puts up because they believe now in social equity and social justice when it comes to road policy too, just like they do for medical freedom and everything else. They're doing it to roads, and that's one of the things we made sure we got into the platform. But I actually didn't speak. It was odd. Some people were like, wow, normally Terri would be asking for her 2 top priorities to be one of the legislative priorities.
Right.
But I didn't even bother with that this year. And there's a reason why, because we have Democrats as committee chairs. And so I actually testified before the Legislative Priorities Committee asking for that to be one of the priorities that we can vote on before the delegates here tomorrow, because we honestly can't get any of our conservative values and priorities passed in the Texas legislature without having the ending the practice of having Democrats chairing committees.
That's been an issue that during my conversations up here just the last couple of days has come up not only with the chairman of the party, Matt Rinaldi, but also State Representative Brian Slayton, who had a rules amendment that sought to get rid of that practice last session and was voted down by most Republicans. When you look at the bills, like you said, that you followed during the legislative session, how many of those end up getting killed because of Democrat chairs?
All of them.
Really?
Literally all of them when it comes to transportation. And it wasn't just the current chair. I mean, this has been going on for a long time on transportation. We had Joe Pickett, longtime chair of the House Transportation Committee, again, under Republican administrations. It didn't matter if it was Rick Perry or Greg Abbott. We have had Democrats as chair over that committee more than we've had Republicans chair.
And so, I think a lot of people are often surprised to find out, especially if they don't live in Texas or if they haven't paid attention to Texas politics, right? They think, oh, it's a Republican state.
Right.
And to find out that, no, it's actually in many ways controlled by Democrats is very, very surprising to people.
And, of course, that's one of the things that really suppresses the vote of Republicans, honestly, because they get so frustrated. They take all their time to come to starting at the precinct level. They go to their precinct convention. A lot of them might go on to their Senate district convention and pass those resolutions that are important to them. And then those who are the real diehards come to the state convention, and they come and spend their own time and money to be here. And they are, what's important to them is getting a good conservative platform and now legislative priorities. And then when we get to Austin and expect that those things are going to be done, and then they put Democrats over these committees and they kill everything we've worked for, well, of course, that's demoralizing for the grassroots.
Sure.
I mean, it makes you wonder, well, okay, I'm just not going to, you throw your hands up, I'm just, at some point, people draw a line and say, I'm not going to do it anymore.
Sure, absolutely. Looking forward at the next legislative session, once we get past this party convention, what are the issues? Let's say they get rid of Democrat committee chairs. Let's say that practice ends.
That would be good.
What are the big issues that your organization is going to be tackling?
It's been the top two for, sadly, like 5 different sessions now. We've gotten nothing. But the two big things on transportation is take the toll off the road when it's paid for. We're getting perpetual taxation. It actually violates the Texas Constitution. Article 1, Section 26 of the Texas Constitution forbids perpetuities. And yet here we are. You know, this doesn't surprise us anymore after we've seen the Biden administration act so unconstitutionally. But it should surprise us when Republicans act unconstitutionally. And that's what's been going on for far too long. We want that toll to come off when the debt's paid for. So we don't have perpetual tolling. The second thing is a uniform and better toll billing system. What we have now is basically usury. They can tack on so many fines and fees without limit that it is literally killing Texas drivers and their families. What we're seeing now is, I mean, you can have thousands of dollars in fines and fees tacked onto what was a $20 toll bill.
Right.
They can impound your car. They can block your vehicle registration. They basically turn you into a criminal. That's one thing that really surprises the grassroots whenever I go around the state and talk to folks. They don't realize that you are literally a criminal for an unpaid toll bill in Texas.
Wow.
It is a criminal offense. So we're trying to decriminalize it. We want a uniform billing so that you can't be in North Texas and get one kind of bill and fine structure and then go over into Harris County and get a different one. And honestly, we want to put a cap on those fines and fees because that's really where the money making is happening with this. And if you can stop some of those abuses, it's going to really save Texas drivers a lot of money, time, and hassle. And just to give you a scope of how big this problem is, just TxDOT, who only runs like a handful of toll projects, I think it's only 3, and it's mostly in the Austin area, they've already put over 2 million Texas drivers into collections over unpaid tolls. 2 million. That's like literally the size of Austin, over the size of Austin. And they only operate those roads around Austin, so that's like virtually putting every Austin resident into collections over unpaid tolls. It's a massive problem, and they need to fix it. They know they need to fix it, but who comes in to kill those bills, if it's not the committee chairs, the people that lobby against them, if we even get a hearing in committee, is the toll entities themselves. They want the money. And so that's where we want the end to taxpayer-funded lobbying, too.
Interesting.
Had to put my plug in for that.
Yeah, very interesting. And something else I think a lot of conservative activists are going to be fighting for during the next session. If people want to follow along what you're doing, want to join the fight with you, where can they go to follow what Texas Turf is doing?
Absolutely. TexasTurf.org. It's Texas spelled out, TURF as in freedom.org.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Terri, for joining.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you for everybody for tuning in right now. We're going to continue throughout the day here at the Republican Party of Texas Convention right here in Houston.